UFC 316, this is the full card predictions. I'm going to go through each fight one by one, give you guys my analysis of each fighter, who I think is going to win, maybe a method of victory thrown in there or not, go over the odds, and ultimately wrap it up with the main event of the evening. You know, we got Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley 2. We also got the co-main event with Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison. Very interesting matchups. Looking forward to breaking down this card. It's really, fun fight card compared to what we had last week. And I also want to, take a minute to apologize for not giving you guys the recap video or the weigh-in video. I was, out sick. Was unable to record. I was, active on Twitter if you guys follow me there. But don't want to spend too much time. I will do a quick little breeze by of the picks and how the card went before we get started with this video. So let's get it underway. So quick wrap up of, UFC Fight Night Blanchfield versus Barber. It ultimately didn't end up happening. Macy Barber ended up having a seizure or something like that. Very scary to hear that that's, what ended up going down. Hope she's able to recover. She did post a little Instagram story explaining, well, not really explaining, but, telling you guys exactly what happened. So ultimately, the main event was Gamrot versus Ludwig Klein. He, absolutely wrestle-fucked him for the entire fight. Very boring for the division. Definitely wanted some new blood in there. But, Gamrot does what he does best. I was really hoping to see Ludwig Klein, make the jump, but he didn't. Ramiz Brahimaj got that nasty guillotine, or it was really like a ninja choke on Billy Ray Goff. Put him absolutely out, slammed his head on the ground once he, fell unconscious. Excuse me. And then the lock of the week, Bruno Lopez got absolutely starched by a jab. It was just a very nasty main card throughout the entire night. We did hit one parlay. Jordan Levitt and Zach Reese came through. Even though I did think Zach Reese, that decision could have went either way. Dusko was definitely, I would say early on, looked a lot better than Zach Reese. Definitely, controlled him for the first round, and then second round he had a little bit of success with the takedowns, but hey, at least we cashed something. Jordan Levitt put Kurt Hollabaugh to sleep. That was pretty impressive. Balaji Oki did what he did best, and perfect prediction underdog came through it. At least Ardayan, excuse me, definitely handled Rayani Dos Santos. It was a pretty good fight. That was probably, if I'm looking through it, that was probably the best fight of the night. And then, of course, Dustin Jacoby, definitely the best performance. But yeah, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, it was probably like a 5. There was a few fights that, had a few highlights in them, but we didn't get a main event. We were, anticipating. I mean, we didn't really want this fight card anyway, but not getting a main event after they've been, anticipating it all night, kind of really bummed everybody out, especially me, watching it sick, but it is what it is. Let's jump back into why we are here, though. UFC 316. Starting off the card, we got Chaos Williams taking on Andreas Gustafsson. Gustafsson was supposed to fight on that last weekend, or on, the Aaron Blanchfield card. I believe Trevin Giles fell and hit his head or something like that, so he was unable to fight. Andreas Gustafsson didn't. I don't think he cut weight, so he was able to, come get rebooked for this short notice fight against Chaos Williams, who I think is a perfect opponent for him. With that being said, I am going with Andreas Gustafsson. You look at a Chaos Williams, he's not really a tactical striker. He's more of like a brawler. I do like Gustafsson to win the exchanges for majority. Or I think he's going to win majority of the exchanges. Chaos Williams, he's got power, but like I said, he's not really technical. I say the red zone is where he'll make more of his money, but Gustafsson is so pressure heavy. I think he's going to put him up against the cage, smother him, throw some big elbows in the clinch, knees, definitely wear him down. And then, him not having to cut the weight again is definitely going to be a little beneficial for him. Chaos, I do think he chases a lot. If you look at this Rolando Bedoya W, looking back at it, Bedoya was very young. He went, really back and forth with Bedoya. I thought Bedoya won, and then he came back and got a KO over Carson Harris, who I believe is absolutely trash. He's also old. I believe he was like 36 at the time of that fight. And then, you know, last fight out, he got subbed up by Gabriel Bonfim, who's a pretty good prospect now. But I do think Andreas Gustafsson is going to be able to walk through the wild hooks that the chaotic, you know, style that Chaos Williams is going to bring. I like Gustafsson's pressure. I like his clinch heavy game plan. He's definitely really dangerous in the striking or in the clinch striking. You've seen it in the Pat Pitlick fight on the Contender Series. He is an older, you know, debuting fighter, older prospect, I guess you would want to call him. But I do like him in this position. He is the underdog. I should have fight odds up, but I want to say he's like a plus 195 underdog. So yeah, looking at where are we? Yep, Andreas, he's plus 170. He was plus 195 when I made my notes, but yeah, plus 170 now at the time of this recording. Chaos Williams is minus 200 favorite. I think people are, you know, respecting the power too much of Chaos Williams. He doesn't really string his shots together well. He's more of a brawler. And I do think Gustafsson, excuse me, I do think Gustafsson will be able to, you know, close the distance and put Chaos, you know, on the back foot, on the cage, and really, you know, do what he does best. So I do like Andreas Gustafsson to get a debut victory here. And I don't know if this fight goes the distance. I think either side, there's definitely going to be a finish coming out of it. But I do lean the side of Andreas Gustafsson to put Chaos Williams out probably. So I'm going with Andreas Gustafsson. Underdog to get the card rolling. Next up, we got Markel Medeiros taking on Mark Choinski. Mark the Shark. I know he's 8-0, but if we really break down his record, his last fight, he was an 8-7 guy. He did, you know, go through him 2 months ago. John Simon 7-3, decent. Reese Archer 2-8. 7 months ago, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these guys are barely getting their feet wet or not, you know, anywhere near the UFC level. Markel Medeiros, he's not, you know, running through anybody that is high tier either. I know he's got the win over Austin Hubbard. Landon Quiones was touching him up a little bit, but he definitely won that fight. And then he's got the KO on the Contender Series over Isakov. I'm picking Medeiros though. I like his striking. I like how he's able to switch stances. This fight not being in the octagon, or excuse me, not the octagon, the Apex definitely favors him as well with his movement type style, whereas Mark the Shark probably would have preferred that so he can close the distance a lot better. I do like how Medeiros was able to mix it up as well. I know in that Austin Hubbard fight, Austin was able to get his back, but Markel Medeiros has some pretty solid defensive grappling as well. I think it would definitely be on, we'll be able to see it in this fight as well, but I do like Medeiros. I like the way he picks his shots. I think he's going to be able to dictate the pace of the fight, embrace the grind. And like I said, you know, he's got the 2 wins in the UFC at way higher than anything that, you know, Mark has done. Not saying the guy is terrible, but opposition for opposition, I got to go with, you know, some UFC experience. Mark, he's pretty good everywhere. He's got solid speed, solid combinations. His grappling is pretty decent. But yeah, it's pretty hard to get a read on a guy when this is his competition level. You know what I'm saying? There's another guy on this card who is in a similar position, but I feel like the intangibles are just a little better on him. So we'll get there when we get there, but I am leaning Markel Medeiros to get a W in this one. And it's probably going to be like a 29-28 type of fight. I want to check the odds because I do know Markel Medeiros, who was also supposed to fight last week, pulled out. Yeah, minus 280 is a little wide. He pulled out last week because he was sick. Was unable to fight, unable to cut the weight. So it is a little interesting to see that the line is what it is. Minus 200 definitely makes, you know, a little bit more sense. Excuse me, minus 280 is a little, you know, steep for my liking, especially when, like I say, he was just getting over a sickness. Really quick turnaround too, so it's probably gonna go 3 rounds though. But I am leaning Markel Medeiros. Next up, we got Quillian SALKIID versus Yanal ASHMOUZ. I'm picking SALKIID. He's got a pretty big, you know, height and reach advantage. in this fight. He's a pretty heavy favorite, as you guys can see. We'll get the real odds in a second. Both of these guys are 8-1. ASHMOUZ, he's got the loss to Chris Duncan, who's pretty solid. Chris Duncan beat Balaji Oki, who fought last week. SALKIID got a knockout over Ansho Jubilee in his debut. He's got the pretty good fight against Gage Young in the Contender Series, who Gage Young just fought Evan Elder not too long ago. I believe that was the Iowa card. Gage Young's pretty solid. But yeah, I like Quillian SALKIID. I like his hand speed. I like how he can scrap. Definitely, his grappling is pretty good. His submissions are pretty good. Could definitely go 3 hard. He's got a high output path to victory, whereas ASHMOUZ, he's going to be throwing like a lot of wide shots. He does exit he exits exchanges the same way. He like dips his head to one side, and that's how Chris Duncan was able to time some pretty good high kicks, some knees up the middle as well. He was definitely touching him up with that. I think SALKIID could definitely replicate what Chris Duncan did to him. I think ASHMOUZ is going to need a grapple in this fight, but like I said, I think SALKIID is definitely a much better grappler, and I like the kick speed that ASHMOUZ has as well. But I think SALKIID, like I said, I think he's going to be able to time the exits from ASHMOUZ. I think he might be able to time a pretty good knee. Maybe, I'm not saying he's going to knock him out, because ASHMOUZ is pretty tough. Like I said, he's only got the one loss to Chris Duncan, who is definitely mid-level of the UFC, probably like top 30, 40 lightweights. I guess we just need to see a little bit more of SALKIID, I like his performances, over in Eternal MMA. He's got the knockout, the decision over Pastor. I watched that fight, and the submission over Dom. I just need to see a little bit more to say he's gonna knock, ASHMOUZ out. ASHMOUZ, he's got the knockout over Sam Patterson, but Sam Patterson was never supposed to fight at 155, and we just saw Sam Patterson knock out left hand of God Danny Barlow, who, that was crazy. But yeah, ASHMOUZ, he's more of like he's gonna need to throw a lot of wild hooks to close the distance over a 6', 75-inch reach type of guy. I know he did it with Sam Patterson, but again, Sam Patterson was never supposed to be a lightweight. So I am going with Quillian SALKIID. I think he wins it probably by decision. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a knockout, but like I said, I just need to see a little bit more to confidently call it. Let's check out the odds real quick. SALKIID is a heavy favorite, minus 470. ASHMOUZ plus 370. It's pretty wide for a matchup of this level, I would say. I believe everyone's thinking he's going to knock him out, but I don't know. ASHMOUZ is pretty tough. Took some punishment from Duncan and was able to weather the storm. He went 3 hard. Trevor Peek was touching him up, but got the win in that one. Trevor Peek's a chaotic striker as well. I don't know, man. I like, I'm not going to say I like ASHMOUZ, but I think he can weather a storm. We'll just see how SALKIID deals with him. Is he going to grapple? He's going to strike with him? Because ASHMOUZ does have some pretty fast kicks. He was able to, land a few on Chris Duncan as well. But I'm going with SALKIID. Minus 470 is crazy, though. Maybe like a minus 200. Let me see what it opened up at. Like a minus 200 would make a little, minus 220 when it opened. That definitely makes more sense. But everybody's betting on him. Next fight, Azamat Murzakanov versus Brendan Ribeiro. I'm picking Azamat Murzakanov. When you look at this guy, you're like, man, he's like a fat, blobby, light heavyweight. But he's not. Like, surprisingly, he's got some really good speed. He darts in and out pretty well. He's got deceptively quick hands. He rips his combinations pretty well. He beat Dustin Jacoby. He knocked out Alonzo Minifield. He beat Devin Clark, who's okay, but he's pretty solid. His like I said, his striking is pretty good. I do think he's the better striker of the two. I think he's got, the better power as well. Brendan Ribeiro, I know he's got this huge reach advantage, right? And he's got like 5 inches in height. But we got to remember, he got knocked out by Mingyang Zhang. Mingyang Zhang is pretty scary. Can't deny him of that. He did turn around Dior Nurgazai 2 months ago. It was pretty impressive, but he was, I believe, no, was he touching him up early? I'm trying to recall that fight. I remember how he got the choke. It was really impressive, especially for him to do it the way he did. But I don't know. Ribeiro, he does have knockout power. I don't think his striking is as clean as Azamat, though. He is pretty clunky. He's just like a heavy hitting, Brazilian brawler type of guy. I think he has a win over Bruno. Yeah, he beat the Lock last week on Contender Series, knocked him straight out. Bruno Lopez might have like the worst chin in the light heavyweight division, but that's off subject right now. But yeah, he's got this huge size and reach advantage, but Azamat has fought a lot of guys with the same type of, approach. Dustin Jacoby is like 6'4". I think his reach is like 78 inches, something like that. Alonzo Menifield's definitely got a bigger size and reach advantage than Azamat Murzakanov, so it's not like he hasn't seen this type of matchup before. So I think he might be able to knock out Brenderson and Ribeiro. I can see him darting in, throwing like a quick tight hook in the pocket, and we'll see Brenderson collapse. Yeah, that's what I think. I think Azamat's gonna knock him out, and I think he is a pretty big favorite as well. Let's see. Where are we? Yeah, minus 500 plus 375. I mean, I get it, but damn, there's like no money to be made on the prelims. Minus 350 at open. That's there's no money to be made on the prelims. You're gonna have to like prop bet every fight, damn near. But yeah, I do think Azamat Murzakanov gets it done, probably by a knockout as well. So yeah, that's what we're rolling with. Next up, we got Jo Sang-Yu versus Jeka Seraghi. This is who I was talking about, Jo Sang-Yu. He's also 8-0. He's fought, in the like Korean-based market. He fought on Korean Zombies League, and that's how he got his UFC contract with this knockout over Masuto Kawana. I am picking him. Definitely not picking Jeka Seraghi. I don't think he's going to be the guy to turn this guy around. Jo Sang-Yu, he does have like some type of aura around him. He's got the, pretty cool tattoos. He's got like the striking approach similar to like it's like a karate base, almost like a Conor, but not Conor. Conor is just like the easiest guy to grab when we name these cool strikers. But I don't know, he seems like a pretty cool, fighter that you guys want to get or want to be a fan of. I do like his striking though. He's got really good timing. He's got pretty good blitzes, solid frame for the division. I know his reach isn't available, but I believe it's a lot larger than Jeka Seraghi's. He picks his shots pretty accurately. He does have some solid ground and pound, some ground control as well. I believe it was this fight, the Exon fight. He got taken down, was able to get back to his feet, and was throwing some big shots. Doesn't accept what his opponent is trying to do. I like that from Jo Sang-Yu. I like that from fighters as well. I do think he probably gets a knockout. Jeka Seraghi, last fight he got subbed up by Weston Wilson, who's probably one of the worst, lightweights or featherweights in the UFC. He also got knocked out by Anshul Jubilee, who's absolutely trash. Oh my gosh, how do you get knocked out by Anshul Jubilee? That's terrible. Like, Anshul Jubilee is not good at all. He's like, his nickname is like the King of India or something like that. That dude is garbage. Absolute garbage. Jeka, though, I will say he's got pretty, chaotic power. If you allow him to set up his shots, he will, land something. I just don't think Jo Sang-Yu is going to be there for him to, tee off on. I do think he's going to dart in, catch him with probably something real clean and straight early, probably like the second round or early second round, I'll say. Jeka Seraghi puts himself in really bad positions, so he put himself in this triangle against Weston Wilson. He was in the guillotine, slammed Weston, and then put himself deeper into he transitioned to a triangle and then slammed Weston Wilson and got subbed up. So This dude is all explosiveness, no IQ. That's what I had to say about SERAGHI. And I do think Ju Sang Yu is probably going to knock him out. With, he's trying to make his debut here. I definitely think he wants to, stamp his name. He can definitely, grapple SERAGHI, but I think the path to victory for him to boost himself will definitely be a knockout. And I do think he's going to end up knocking SERAGHI out. He might try to, grappling early. That might be the approach. And then you're like, man, I ain't scared of this guy, and just end up starching him. I could definitely see that happening. Then when we look at the odds, minus 510, plus 385. Like I said, there's no money to be made on these prelims. Over 1.5, minus 150. Unders, plus 120. You'll definitely be, sweating either side of that. But I wonder what inside the distance for Sang Yu is. Minus 130. So you have to parlay piece it. But yeah, I do think Ju Sang Yu gets it done by a finish. Next up, we got Sergey Spivak taking on Waldo Salsa Boy Cortez Acosta. I'm picking Waldo. The reason why I'm picking him is because I'm not impressed with Sergey Spivak's grappling. Like, I know he's a pretty decent or a pretty solid grappler, but if you look at his takedown attempts, he's like shooting from halfway across the cage, and like, yeah, he'll get you down, but I think Waldo is just too fast on the feet to just fall for that. I think he'll be able to see that coming, cut an angle, time like a pretty solid hook. He's got really good boxing. He was a former professional boxer. He wasn't the greatest, but I do like his striking a lot better than Sergey Spivak's. Sergey, if he does get him down though, he could be in trouble. I know he was getting wrestled up against Marcos Rogero de Lima. Lost that fight ultimately, but he put together a pretty good streak. Lucas Brzeski, who's pretty trash, knocked him out. Andrei Arlovski, he went decision. I didn't really like that from him. That's what deterred me again from Waldo when he fought Ryan Spann. He was able to wrestle Robelis de Spain, but Robelis de Spain is trash. You see him over in what is it, Karate League? I forgot what it's called, but he's doing what he's doing over there. Sergey Spivak, he got knocked out by Gelton Almeida 4 months ago. Almeida is primarily a grappler. Yes, he has some power, but he's not a great striker. I have to say he's not a great striker. I think Gelton probably beats Waldo Cortez as well. I like his I think he's stronger than Sergey Spivak. Yeah, I think he's definitely stronger than Sergey Spivak. Well, I mean, clearly he beat him, right? But I don't know. I don't like Sergey, man. And I'm trying not to be biased. I know he's lost to Serogan. He's lost to Tom Aspinall. And, of course, Gelton Almeida. But those are interim champion, number 2, or number 1 or number 2. And then Gelton's like number 4 or something like that. So he's lost to only, the top of the top competition as far as like recently. Whereas, where's Waldo? 2 years ago, we got the Rogero de Lima loss. But I don't know. I think he's going to touch him up on the feet. I think he can knock out Sergey Spivak. I think if he doesn't knock him out, though, it will be a hard 3 rounds. Is Sergey Spivak going to wrestle him up for the entire 3 rounds? Is he going to find a submission? Maybe, but I'm leaning on the striker in this one. I think, them being in the bigger octagon, which is what I mentioned in the, what fight was that? I can't remember, but, the Marquero Medeiros fight. With them being in the bigger octagon, I think that gives, more space for Waldo to move around, avoid the takedowns, stay off the fence, where Sergey likes to do, majority of his work, get out of the clinch and, box him up. I think he can win. I think he can win this fight, whether it be by decision, whether it be by a knockout. But I'm going to pick Waldo Cortez as of now. I would like to see how they look on the scales. Is Sergey, looking like his usual self? Is he, more dialed into the strength and conditioning? Does he look stronger? Does he look more in shape? We'll have to see. Waldo Cortez is not the, most fit guy, but he definitely looked a lot better than Ryan Spann did when he made his heavyweight debut. And of course, he's a former light heavyweight, but I thought Ryan Spann would, be a little more shredded. He just showed up as like fat, or like, you know, like he didn't cut weight and ultimately got knocked out. So it'd be a good win for Waldo Cortez to break into the top 10. I think he could do it. So we're going with Waldo. Where's Waldo? Next up, we got Ariane Lipski da Silva versus Kong Wang. I'm picking Kong Wang, and you know, the odds on this one are pretty wide, which I don't like. Again, I feel like this is not necessarily a coin flip fight, but probably like minus 180 plus 160, somewhere around there. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at the odds, bro, it's like, damn, we can't make no money. Minus 360 plus 295. Like, what are you supposed to do with this? Golly. But I am picking Kong Wang. I do think she's a better striker. I know she got subbed up by Gabriela Fernandez, but the way she got knocked out, or excuse me, subbed up, was she got dropped, and then Gabriela jumped on her neck. Ariana is not a really good grappler, so I don't think she's gonna, you know, wrestle Kong Wang up. If you look at Kong Wang, I definitely think she's a better striker. She beat the current champion Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing match. So I have to weigh that in a striker versus striker matchup. You know what I'm saying? Ariana, she's decent. She's on a 2-fight skid. I think her striking is more reactive than anything, whereas Kong Wang is going to be the aggressor in the fight. She's definitely got more power, and I can see her, you know, landing something pretty heavy on Ariane. She's coming off, you know, the loss to Jazz Dvalishvili. She got Darst. And then right before that, she lost to Karine Silva, who's pretty solid. You know, she got the win over Casey Anel, submission armbar. But again, I don't think she's going to be wrestling up Kong Wang. Kong Wang, I like her. I think this was a pretty good hiccup for her to hit early. And, you know, she came back 3 months ago, beat Bruno Brazil, Ariane Lipski. I think they're around the same tier. Yeah, I think they're around the same tier, but I think Kong Wang gets it done. I think she's probably going to, you know, touch Ariane Lipski up a few times. Maybe get a knockout, maybe not. Could be a, you know, competitive fight. Maybe like a 29-28. We get like 229, 28, 30-27 Kong Wang. Unanimous decision, but I'm leaning Kong Wang in this one. Rule of thumb, don't pick the prettier fighter. It only works, you know, 40% of the time. So going with Kong Wang, the Joker. She's going to, you know, at the weigh-in, she'll have her usual get up of the Joker face paint. I'm going with her. Let's get it done. Didn't really want to spend too much time on this fight. Next up, we got one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now, Joshua Van versus Bruno Silva. I am picking Joshua Van. And again, the odds, minus 550. Plus 400. I am going with Josh Van. I do like his striking a lot better. He's got nasty combinations. He rips the body very well. He's like a really good 3-level striker. He's got a really solid base too. He rips the leg kicks really well. His takedown defense is pretty good. I think he might be faster than Bruno Silva. He's got knockout power too. Bruno Silva, he's got knockout power, but it's more off of, you know, reckless hooks. When I look at Joshua Van, he's putting pieces to the puzzle together, and then he's gonna find that shot. And he also, I like the way he builds in the fights. Like the first round, he's, you know, measuring you out, seeing how you approach. Second round, he's turning up the pressure. Third round, if it gets there, he's on you. You know what I'm saying? The Edgar Shires fight was amazing. Definitely got touched in that fight, but was able to, you know, overcome and was he almost got Edgar Shires out of there, who's pretty tough. Beat Cody Durden, who's pretty respectable in the UFC. Ray Saruya decision, who is a, you know, heavy touted prospect, who's a really good grappler. Did what he did to him, was touching him up as well, defended a lot of takedowns. Bruno Silva's not going to be shooting a lot of takedowns. He's coming off this knockout loss, which is a little, you know, was a little controversial from Manel. Excuse me, Manel Cop got hit with like a low blow, and then the ref didn't stop it. He's got solid speed. He's got like the jittery style. Also, it's like a kung fu type of base with like thinking like Henry Cejudo. It's not as good as Henry Cejudo, but he definitely, gives that aura, I guess you want to call it. He's got pretty good feints, flashes that he's, shooting for the takedown. He never really does. But I do that karate style I was speaking of, they definitely leave their chin up pretty high, leaves it, out to be exposed. Bruno Silva's guard is kind of wide too, so I don't know. I like Joshua Van in this fight. I do think it'll probably be competitive. Definitely need to look out for the hooks of Bruno Silva. There's no real, height or reach advantage. It's a pretty even, not stylistic fight, but physicality, I guess you want to call it. But I do think Joshua Van gets it done. Probably unanimous decision. If he does knock out Bruno Silva, that's pretty impressive too, seeing that, Manel Kopp did it, but it was more of a, controversial finish. If he's able to knock out Bruno Silva like clear as day, then there's nothing but big fights on the horizon for Joshua Van. And I like him. He's really young too. He's only 20. He's 23 years old, bro. And he's already ranked. He's already, damn near close to a top 8 fight, I would have to say. Joshua Van is the real deal. And a big win here would definitely, do some magic for him. So I'm going with Joshua Van. Next up, opening up the main card. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got Mario Bautista taking on Patchy Mix. When I was doing the breakdown on this fight, I was, tossing and turning, going back and forth. I don't like Mario Bautista. I really don't. Especially from, this Jose Aldo fight. But he's got some solid wins, man. The Ricky Simone win is pretty solid. The Damon Blackshear win is solid. Damon Blackshear is pretty good. And there's one more. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I don't know why I thought. Yeah, he lost to Corey Sandhagen. I don't know why I thought it was somebody else. 9-2 in the UFC. Patchy Mix, he's in his prime, right? They're both 31 years old. He's in his prime. He's a champion over at Bellator. But we've seen Bellator guys lose and lose and lose in the UFC. Michael Chandler, Pitbull got pieced up. I picked Pitbull. I didn't pick Chandler versus, I don't think I picked Chandler in any of his fights except for the Ferguson fight. Yeah, I didn't pick Michael Chandler in any fight but Tony. I gotta go with Mario, man. I don't really like him, but I feel like this is a really tough, very even fight too. I would probably lean Patchy grappling. But I don't know. He's used to fighting like a little bit of smaller fighters. You know what I'm saying? He had a tough fight with Magomedov last time out. It was pretty back and forth for majority of it. He got the Sergio Pettis submission, but he's also a shorter guy. He was pretty, it was a little easier for him to handle Sergio. He got the knockout over Stotts, I think that's the fight he won the $1 million off of. But Stotts is what, like 5'7", maybe 5'6". How tall is Rafael Stotts? He threw a nasty knee up the middle. What is he? Yeah, 5'7". And that knee was just, it was like there, for Patchy to land. This is a really tough fight. I feel like there's no real, physicality advantage. Patchy's got a 2-inch reach advantage, but I don't know, man. I don't know. He has been training with Marab, so maybe he's looking to take Mario down, but Mario's got pretty solid, defensive and offensive wrestling. It's a really, really tough fight. I think it's going to be a split decision either way. I don't think anyone's going to get finished. I'm going to lean Mario just because he's got the UFC under his name. I don't think I'm trying to think of oh damn. This is kind of off subject, but there's like a hornet's nest right in my window. I'm going to have to get that. But yeah, Mario, I think Mario's going to do it. I think he's going to, disappoint people again. That Jose Aldo fight was very disappointing to a lot of people. I hated him for it. And then seeing how Jose went out, you know, against Ayman Zahabi was just upsetting, because those definitely could have been 2 W's for Jose, and he probably would still be fighting. But I don't know, man. I think Mario Bautista gets it done. Razor thin scorecard, though. Let's look at the odds. I know Patchy is the favorite, but it opened up as a coin flip. If we can, yeah, opened up -110 on both sides. People are betting on Patchy because they don't want to see Mario win. That's really why the odds are what they are, but I'm gonna have to go Mario. You know, maybe throughout the week when I hear how Patchy's probably gonna approach his fight, then I'll consider a pick flip, but that's not until, you know, the weigh-ins. If there's something substantial that makes me want to, you know, switch my pick, maybe I'll do some more research. But as of right now, I'm going with Mario Bautista. I think he's gonna win. Razor thin scorecards though. But yeah, let's move on. Next up, we got Vicente Luque taking on Kevin Holland. I'm picking Kevin Holland. Holland, I know he's kind of, if you look at his fights, he's coin flippy, like win, loss, loss, win, loss. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these fights are up at 185. Rainer de Ritter, who we just saw body Bo Nickel, Roman Dolidze, he broke his rib in that fight, and then MVP was just too fast for him. I think, you know, all 3 of those guys definitely beat Vicente Luque. Vicente's not a big welterweight either. Kevin is just really tall and long for the division, so that allowed him to move up to 185. But Kevin's downfall is wrestlers, and Vicente Luque is not a wrestler. He's got pretty good jiu-jitsu, but he's not a wrestler. I know he subbed up Themba Gorimbo pretty easily too. I thought Themba was gonna knock him out in that fight. But he's coming off this, you know, this Buckley knockout. Got knocked out by Jeff Neal a few years ago. Bilal Muhammad beat him. He's got the win over who? RDA. Is that when RDA? No, RDA broke his knee against Jeff Neal. But yeah, Luque. Is the comeback serious? You know what I'm saying? Like, his chin, is it back? Is it solid? There's a lot of questions. He's got solid kicks. I like Vicente Luque. I used to play with him all the time in UFC 3. He was pretty good. He's got high level jiu-jitsu, but I do feel as though his best days are behind him. I know he's not the oldest, 33 years old, but he's been touched up a few times. You know what I'm saying? I think it will be a good fight. I do like Kevin Holland down at 170. I think he's going to use his long reach, his long height advantage to his, to his benefit. I think if he stays long, use that karate style, use the jab a lot, I think he could put Vicente Luque in a chair, sit him down, and maybe he gets a submission on Vicente. You never know. Kevin's got some pretty good BJJ as well. I believe he's a black belt. I like Kevin Holland in this fight. I think he gets it done. Let's check the odds. -260 for Kevin Holland, +220. What did it open up at? -160. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think Kevin Holland gets it done. Next up to the featured fight on the main card, we got Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Bodybags PYFER. If you guys don't know, this fight was supposed to go down on the Mexico City fight card, but Joe PYFER had some bad tacos or something in his stomach. I think he had like a stomach bug, had to pull out. I think it was like a day before the weigh-ins or something like that. So we got a rebooking, and I'm still going with Joe PYFER. Not saying he's necessarily going to knock out Kelvin Gastelum, because his chin has been solid throughout his career. I don't think Kelvin's been knocked out, actually. Has he been knocked out? Yeah, never been knocked out. He's been subbed and lost. Sean Brady subbed him up, threw him around for 3 rounds. That was pretty interesting, too. Sean Brady, if you guys don't know, he's a teammate of Joe PYFER. So it definitely has some insights into how to approach a Kelvin Gastelum. I don't think Joe PYFER is going to be grappling, though. That's not his strong suit. He can definitely do it, but I think Joe PYFER is looking to land the shot. The only thing I will say is don't chase the head. Rip to the body. That's where you're going to make majority of your money on Kelvin Gastelum, and it'll open up the headshot. If he knocks Kelvin Gastelum out, that would be super impressive. It would be the first guy to do it. Izzy had a hard time doing it. Izzy, he dropped him quite a lot, but he didn't knock him out. But I do think Joe Pyfer does it. Like I said, avoid the head hunting. Don't allow Kelvin Gastelum to grab you either. Disengage from all grappling from Kelvin, because that could definitely zap his, power, his energy. They did rebook this fight. Don't want to do that. For Kelvin, he's definitely going to look to grapple, I would think. But Joe Pyfer's pretty strong. I don't know if he's going to have a lot of success in that. And if Joe Pyfer is able to defend, and that's going to make Kelvin tired, could set up a knockout to the body, TKO, ground and pound maybe. I don't think he's going to chin Kelvin Gastelum. But if he does, damn. But yeah, I think Kelvin's going to have to grapple early, zap the gas tank of Joe Pyfer. If he's successful in that, then it could be a long fight. If not, it's going to be a long fight no matter what. I don't think Joe Pyfer's knocking him out. Not with a clean shot, you know what I'm saying? It'll probably be an accumulation of shots to the body. Joe Pyfer's going to have to use, that body kick. He's got pretty solid kicks too. But yeah, rip to the body. That's Joe Pyfer's money here. Mr. Body Bags, go to the body. I think that's what he needs to do. Going with Joe Pyfer. Next up, the co-main event of the evening. We got the Venezuelan Vixen taking on Kayla Harrison. Huge favorite. What is she? Minus 700, minus 600, plus 425. I'm going with Kayla Harrison. There is a little bit of caution though. She's never made 135, which Juliana pointed out. That 1 pound, is it going to cause a difference? We don't know. We do not know. She does look pretty, interesting on the scale. She's really, sucked out. We're gonna have to see how that 135 looks on her. But yeah, if she makes it pretty good, then hey, we got to fight. Definitely stronger. I will say the striking on the feet for both of them is pretty trash. Kayla definitely is going to make her money, doing a lot of ground and pound. She had a really good performance over Holly Holm, beating her pretty easily. Ketlen Vieira win was pretty solid too last time out, looking at, what Ketlen Vieira just did to Macy Chiasson. Definitely, got back in the win column. But Juliana, she's also battle tested. She lost to Amanda Nunes. I thought she lost to Raquel Pennington too. It was definitely a close fight. But, I feel as though the UFC wants to see Kayla versus Amanda, and Kayla versus Juliana makes the fight. It makes that fight more compelling to see how Kayla handles Juliana. If she does handle her, I believe she will though. I think Kayla's going to be able to wrestle Juliana up, take her down, smash her face in probably. Maybe, she might be live for a finish. Juliana's pretty, battle tested though. She's willing to overcome a lot of, bad positions. She'll throw up some submissions as well. She'll scramble up to her feet if she needs to. But like I said, the UFC, they're starving for these super fights. So Kayla versus Amanda, the Ilya versus Islam, JDM versus Islam. But Pena's no slouch. I don't like her striking, like I said, but I do think Kayla's going to be able to beat her. Juliana has said some pretty solid points. So like I said, with the, she's never made 135. She's never fought, high skilled competition. Juliana Pena's, she beat Amanda Nunes. Was it a fluke? Maybe, because Amanda came back and smoked her right after. But again, a lot of her wins are just PFL bantamweight type of ladies. Aspen Ladd, who's never been, smelled a title in the UFC. Pacheco's okay. She beat, didn't she beat Cyborg, or am I tripping? Or at least she beat Cyborg. Yeah, I might be tripping. Yeah, obviously I'm tripping. Holly Holm, former champion, subbed her up. Definitely was smashing her face in early on in that fight. But yeah, UFC wants Kayla versus Amanda, and I think we're gonna get it. Amanda's definitely been, flirting with a comeback, and I feel as though this is the only fight she's gonna come back for. So the UFC's gonna do what they have to do for Kayla Harrison to win. If it goes to a decision, and Juliana's not, pulling away, then Kayla Harrison is the new champion. But I do think she's live. to ground and pound Juliana Pena, maybe get her out of there. I think we're definitely going to see Juliana busted up. We've seen her, cut before. We've seen her bleeding before. I think we're definitely going to see it again. And new Kayla Harrison. And to wrap it all up, we got Merab, the Machine Dvalishvili. He's no longer the only machine in UFC, if you guys don't know, or in the bantamweight division at least. We got Malcolm, the Machine Wellmaker, also in there. He'll be making his way to a title pretty soon. Versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. I'm gonna pick Merab because I know that's the right thing to do here. But you can't tell me this gives you JDM Bilal type of vibes where the UFC needs Sean O'Malley to win. The division needs Sean O'Malley to win because there's not many fights for Merab left. You know what I'm saying? There's Corey Sandhagen there, but after Corey, who's left? Who's next? You know what I'm saying? Sean O'Malley, there's a lot of fights for him. You know, you got Corey. You could do Umar. You could do Sean versus I'm drawing a blank. Sean versus Jan 2. There's a lot of fights if Sean O'Malley wins. He can move up to featherweight and fight Volk. Well, he's probably not gonna fight. Excuse me. He's probably not gonna fight a Volk. He'll probably fight, the next superstar. Probably like a Gene Silva if he wins the title. Oh my gosh, Sean O'Malley, Gene Silva. UFC needs Sean O'Malley to win, and he's definitely capable. I will say, Merab was getting touched late to the body in that fight. If Sean O'Malley can, start the fight like that, which I think he will, using the teep to the body, zap that gas from Merab. He's not injured like he said he was in the first fight. He said he's, changed up a lot of his routines. It also kind of sounds like what Israel Adesanya did, though. You know what I'm saying? But Izzy did have a lot of success in that DDP fight. He just ultimately lost. So I think we will get a better performance from Sean O'Malley. Does he win? I don't know. It's like you're banking on, the UFC superstar gods to pull through. You know what I'm saying? It's iffy, man. It's iffy. I will say, though, Merab has a clear, path to victory, replicate the same success that he had. Merab's definitely got a clear path to victory. He's definitely going to have to, replicate the same success that he had, shoot the takedowns early. He's going to have to control Sean O'Malley a lot more, though. That's one thing he didn't do in the first fight. He's got the relentless takedowns, but like I said, his control isn't all that. So in order for Merab to win this fight even more convincingly, I think he's going to need to get some more or garner some more control time. And he also can't, engage in the striking for longer than necessary. Mix it up, throw a few shots and shoot the takedown. He's shot 20, 30 takedowns in the fight before. I think he's going to have to do it again. Sean O'Malley's definitely trying to get that belt back. I think he might find the shot, but banking on it is, it's a little tough to do. You know what I'm saying? I picked Bilal versus JDM. I was ultimately wrong, but I don't think Merab's gonna, vary from the game plan. I think he's definitely gonna do what he does the best and try to replicate the same success that he had. So I'm gonna pick Merab, but I will say there is a chance that Sean O'Malley knocks him out. So there's a little caution on it, but I'm rocking with Merab until we see the fight, honestly. I'm going with Merab. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I got for UFC 316 full card predictions. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the picks. Who do you guys disagree with me on? Do you think Sean is going to do it? Do you think Merab's going to do it? Do you think Juliana's going to do it? Think Padgie's going to break the Bellator curse? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.